Hi guys, Fernandes Limbo on the grid. We should start off with On the Diamond, a couple of baseball notes right off the bat.
Yep.
Let's start with Chris Archer, who's becoming the leader of the Tampa Bay Rays.
Almost the face of baseball in a sense.
He is.
Yeah, he's becoming like the ambassador for baseball.
He's a good choice. But in conjunction with this national nonprofit Good Sports, they donated $10,000 worth of baseball and softball equipment to the Port Charlotte High School.
Yeah.
And I saw some of the bats and nice equipment, nice gesture, and he's really putting his foot forward as, like you said, spokesperson of the league and the team.
Yeah, definitely, and it's cool too that obviously Port Charlotte's their spring home, quote unquote, and it's nice to see that that they take care of the spring home, even though they're only here 6 weeks of the year, and then they go to St. Pete for most of the season. So yeah, pretty cool move by the Rays and Chris Archer, and as you said, good ambassador for the game.
He talks. I know he's proud of his ability to speak as an athlete.
Right.
He said some things going to that Cuba thing where I think a young guy who hasn't really established himself yet in the league has to watch some of the things he says, probably, right?
Well, I don't know about that. I think they want him to kind of put a foot forward.
And his mouth, tongue, too.
Yeah. I think he knows what to say and what not to say. I think he's pretty good at that.
I think he's good. Staying on baseball, you were at a very exciting event. I've seen a few, Home Run Derby, Sarasota Sailors. But you were watching Kristen Maglich of Cardinal Mooney hit 24 in 3 rounds. What was that like? It
was pretty cool. It was at the Taylor Emmons Memorial Classic at ODA. The Home Run Derby was last night. I should say Wednesday night. 8 guys, and it was cool. Usually a Home Run Derby is outs. You get so many outs per at-bat, and anything not a home run is an out. This time it was 3 minutes per hitter, which I thought was pretty cool. It added some drama to it. For example, in the semifinals, he beat Cooper Swanson from Canterbury by 1 home run. And with 30 seconds left, the kid's trying to hit the home runs. They're pitching fast.
Wait a minute, it's time, right? You just can't lollygag up there,
right? They timed it this year.
Okay.
Last year, I think it was outs. This year, it was you get 3 minutes.
Right.
So, and he won by 1 home run. Then he hit the clincher in the finals. He had 24 home runs in 9 minutes because you get 3 rounds, 3 minutes per round. That's about 3 home runs per minute. And he hit 1 in the game before the Home Run Derby. So. He was in a groove last night.
I want to ask you, is it similar to the home run derbies you see in major leagues in that some guys expend themselves at first and at the end they don't have the same whip of the bat to generate home runs?
Well, not really, because with the 3 minutes, you're kind of on one speed.
Right, okay.
And it was funny. He was tied at his 4. There was this big trophy he had to hold. And I said, what's harder, the home runs or holding that trophy? He said, pretty much both.
Right.
And it was cool. He hit the home run. You watched it go out. He did a great bat flip. I have a video of it on htpreps.com.
Right.
Did a great bat flip, kind of like a Jose Batista-esque bat flip. It was a pretty cool night. Jake Westberg from St. Stephen's did it. Brandon Lamb from Palmetto did it as well. Najee Rhodes from ODA. So some local guys in there, too. It was a pretty cool night.
Yeah, a few years ago they had one at Sarasota where alums took part.
Okay.
And some of these guys were killing a lot of worms. I'm not going to name names, but obviously you lose it over the years.
Right,
You did a story on Getzman. Talk a little bit about that. Is he languishing a little bit here?
Well, the story last week was Brandon Getzman from Palmetto in the Rays organization, and he started in left field for the Pirates-Rays game at McKechnie last week, which was pretty cool. And Kevin Cash, the manager, even said, we know he's a local kid, and we want him to play in front of his family and friends. He's been hurt by injuries pretty much since he's been drafted.
Right.
But he's still a young kid. I think he's 23 years old. Spent all of last season high single-A Charlotte. I talked to his manager last year, did a story on him, and he said the kid has bat speed. It's just if he puts it together and stays healthy, he's gonna have a pretty good career wherever he goes. So, and Brandon's a great kid. I've talked to him since high school, so obviously I hope the best for him because he's a good guy.
You know the way the situation is when you get drafted. If you don't start to advance, you start to get pushed from guys from behind.
Right.
And we're talking about a local guy. That's why kind of Casey Kelly was sent from the Padres to the Braves.
Right.
The Padres had other guys, and talking about Casey Kelly, he was sent down to AAA Gwinnett last week, so he'll try to make it back that way.
It's tough. People think that you're drafted. You're going to be a multimillionaire. It's a tough road to hoe. Not just getting to the big leagues, but staying there too. So obviously, we'll see how these guys progress.
Buck Showalter, not to belabor the point, Buck Showalter made the point, the distinction between football and baseball, where in football they got the college game and they can go right to pro.
Right.
In Major League Baseball, you got ace, double A, single A. Anywhere along the way, you can wash out.
Exactly, and there's a reason for that. I mean, the talent disparity from even just A to triple, from Major League to AAA is huge. So yeah, we'll see how these guys do. We'll monitor them obviously. See how they do.
Sure.
Yeah.
We really should mention the Sarasota Manatee All-Star Hoop Game benefiting the Jutra Scholarship Foundation. I don't think you were there, but apparently
Dennis Maffezoli was.
Yeah, Sarasota won both the boys and the girls games.
Right.
DJ Bryant led the boys. but a pretty good story. Book is Yamaris Guevara's.
Yeah.
Didn't play all year because of a knee injury.
Right.
Came back, was a little worried how she might respond, and she was one of the stars of the game. Didn't you do a story on her?
Dennis Maffezoli did.
Oh, exactly.
Because she actually committed.
A lot of math drops.
A lot of math drops. But she committed to Jacksonville University.
Right.
It was funny. It was the weekend of the state wrestling tournament, and Dennis and I were up in Kissimmee,
Right.
and he gets a phone call, and that was the story, that she had committed, missed the whole year with the injury, as you said. But yeah, definitely a great story. Her last game in the area in Sarasota, and she plays well. Good to see her healthy, and hopefully that progresses through her college career.
Yeah, very nice. And again, they're trying to stage events that benefit the Teachers Foundation throughout the year, not just the preseason classic.
And like I said, I think it's a great idea. I mean, it's, I wasn't at the game, but I heard it's a good crowd, a lot of goodwill from both sides, and when push comes to shove, it's fun. It's high school sports. It's fun, and when it goes to a good cause, it's even better. So
one more baseball note: Sarasota 13-3, coming off a third place finish in the classic. First in 8A, Venice second in 7A, out of door second in 3A. Do you expect those three teams to sort of anything can happen, but to remain at the top of their respective classes?
We'll see. It all depends on what you do in your district. Obviously, if you win your district or you're second, all depends on how the bracket. And of course, we talked about this. All depends on if you're a new hot pitcher.
Right.
In fact, the Shuck kid who beat Sarasota last week, he was in the home run derby last night. He made the semifinals. So he's a good athlete, good ball player. We don't see too many guys hit and pitch anymore.
Right.
So when you see a kid pitch and then be in the home run derby,
right,
it kind of makes you stand up and notice.
And we mentioned Casey Kelly, a guy who had to make a decision, or the team made a decision. Where am I going to go, pitching or
playing football?
Position play, or football even.
Tennessee scholarship,
he turned down Tennessee.
Yeah, or watching him play against Manatee all those years.
To play baseball.
Yep.
What's going on with tennis?
Well, we're in the middle of it right now.
Right.
Obviously, the districts, the rain kind of put a monkey wrench into some things. So Lemon Bay, they had to finish up. I'm heading to ODA for that one pretty soon. And Riverview is in the midst in 4A of trying to beat St. Pete for their district title. So a lot of things going on in tennis right now.
Bayshore, just checking online, Ava and Theo Schultz.
Yeah.
A sister team. Theo won the singles. You got the team going, and you also have Shiva Puri going. Let's talk about, again, Bayshore doesn't get a heck of a lot of pubs sometimes, but...
now, their tennis team is usually pretty strong. They usually have a couple of good singles players, a couple of good doubles players.
Right.
So, yeah, they usually play pretty good tennis over at Bayshore. I'm not too surprised that this year they're going to have, girls and singles and, doubles, and all of a sudden the team advances to regional as well. So, yeah. Definitely, like I said, Bayshore usually has some pretty good tennis players.
They do. And we're talking about weightlifting before the show started. Charlotte High, a couple of their guys going. Brianna Jacobs, named the Florida Dairy Farmers top girls lifter.
Yeah.
Pretty good. She won at 110, moves up to 129, back-to-back state titles. That is studly.
Well, it was.
Oh, the wrong choice of words. But you know what I'm talking
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, funny, I talked to her middle of the year about the decision to move up, her and her coach. And they decided, you know what? Instead of worrying about cutting weight, let's just worry about getting stronger. Not instead of worrying about cutting.
Sure.
And she loved it. She didn't have to worry about watching everything, as the wrestlers and weightlifters always watching. So she got to be a little freer with her diet, and obviously it worked out. And I talked to her recently, and she wants to win one more next year, only a junior. Right. So it'd be pretty impressive if she leaves with three state titles.
I mean, talk about cutting weight. Is weightlifting like wrestling? If you cut, doesn't that start to impact basically your strength?
Well, it depends
on the day of your match.
It depends how you do it, obviously. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, there are smart ways to do it, and there are really dumb ways to do it, and I've seen both in all the years I've been doing this. But I think the decision that her and her coach made to get stronger and go forward, obviously it worked out. Second straight state championship, and I'm curious to see where she is next season.
They're doing something right.
Yeah.
We always mention our athlete of the week here on on the grid.
We do.
This week, boys lacrosse, St. Stephen's, Drew Vigney, hope I'm pronouncing his name right, 10 goals and 3 assists in a 21-3 win over St. Admiral Farragut, PNP Admiral Farragut, and then a goal in a loss to Out-of-Door Academy. 6,000 votes cast. This guy, 3,300 votes for lacrosse.
When you scored 10 goals in the game,
you're
going to make some noise in the ballot box.
But that shows that lacrosse is sort of maybe taking its rightful place among the other
it's getting there.
sports.
Riverview has the first non-private public school lacrosse team in the FHSAA, so it's getting some speed, getting some ground.
Now that spring training is over, what can our fans of the show, and they're growing exponentially,
leaps and bounds,
what should they expect?
We got regional tennis next week, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, baseball and softball districts, and like we said, spring football.
Spring football's right around the corner, which excites a lot of people. So we got a lot to cover here.
We do.
On the Grid. So for John Lembo, I'm Doug Fernandez, and we'll see you next week on the Grid.